everyone. We're going live on YouTube over here, and I'm recording over here, so it's a little chaotic. But I just wanted to kind of show you what's going on around the kitchen. I have my stock going here. I'm gonna adjust this camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. Make sure I'm all set up over here. You can see me, hopefully. All right, so the first thing I am gonna do today is make a crock pot ratatouille, and it is literally so easy, it's almost not even a recipe. All you're gonna do is slice a bunch of vegetables, layer them in the crock pot, and just turn it on, and it will make the most delicious ratatouille you've ever had in your life. So I've got everything prepped here. I have a zucchini and a half, basically, I guess we'll say. I have an Asian eggplant that I need to use up, and I also have a large one over there if I need it. I have 2 little purple peppers, onions. I have a half an onion I need to use, some garlic, and tomatoes. That's kind of the big one. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my onion, and I'm just going to layer this as I go. So I'm going to put a little olive oil in the bottom of my crock pot, decent amount of olive oil. And I'm going to layer the onions in first. They need a while to cook, so we're going to do those first. I think this is going to wipe me out of onions. So this, as I have my stock pot over here, I'm actually just going to drop my veggie scraps in there. I have a chicken back in there and chicken feet, which sounds disgusting, but it makes the best stock. Now, the middle of this onion is a little mushy, but that's okay. I'm just going to rip it right out of here. So this recipe I found years ago, and it's awesome. It's such a great way to use everything you probably have a lot of right now. So I'm going to do just 1 layer of onions in the bottom of the pan. So that's what it looks like. And every time I do a layer, I'm going to do a little bit of salt. And then I've got some oregano here. I'm also going to dice up or mince up some garlic. And I'm going to just, you kind of do it however you want. It's almost an artistic piece here. So I'm just gonna have this ready. Now, normally I would be much more organized when I was making something like this, but I have so many moving parts going on today. I'm making bread and soup and ratatouille and pesto and I don't even know what else. I have my menu over somewhere. So I've got a lot of produce to go through. And it's just as organized as you can be. Certainly helpful. You can organize your produce by recipe, so you know you have everything you need. I, for example, thought I was going to be making a ton of freezer pesto, and I realized I don't really have any pine nuts. You can use other nuts, specifically walnuts are really good, but I'm allergic to walnuts, so I won't be doing that. So I'm just going to push that off, and I'm just going to mince this up. I'm not even going to be super worried about it. It's going to cook for so long. We're going to put this on the low setting on your crock pot for like 6 to 8 hours. Sounds like a long time, but it's going to, all the flavors are going to meld, and it's going to be amazing. All right. So that's kind of ready to go. You can mince it up smaller if you want. Mince it up a little bit smaller. This recipe was an absolute godsend. We had our CSA, our second year CSA And I loved it the year before. We got it the first year our daughter was born, and I was home and just made everything under the sun. And it was so lovely to have all this fresh produce. And then I got pregnant with twins, and I couldn't stand the smell of anything, and everything made me throw up. So very quickly, our CSA was going to waste, and this was an easy thing for me to make that I could just kind of throw into the crock pot. Actually, I think Matt ended up making it that year because I couldn't even stand the smell of fresh produce. Terrible. So this is a very helpful thing to have on hand. No, honey, I don't think that's grandma. All right. So now I have a layer of zucchini. A little more salt. Talking to the camera. All right, now I'm gonna do some tomato. Yes, honey.
I don't know.
You don't know? So I'm just gonna cut the top of this out. I really don't want to waste any of this.
Mom.
Yes, dear.
Mom, is Grandma coming here?
Yes, Grandma's coming here. For you. Look at that tomato. It's amazing. So I'm gonna layer this in the crock pot.
I don't eat it.
And then we will do some eggplant. And then the other thing you want to add in here, because it will give it depth of flavor, is tomato paste. And I usually keep.
I'm not going to eat
You're not going to eat this?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm going to put a little garlic on this layer.
Oh, I help too in there.
Yeah, you can. You know what? You can help me do the eggplant. So next layer will be eggplant, and then I'm going to put some tomato paste, and then we're going to start it all over again. I'm also going to put some oregano on there. Now, normally, if I was smart, I would have cut my eggplant ahead of time and salted it to get rid of the bitterness. I put some water on you. I'm so sorry.
It's all right, Mom.
So you just want to cut these about the same size. You can also dice this.
Mom.
All of this, but I like the slices. I think it's kind of a nicer presentation. So if you want to get rid of some of the bitterness of the eggplant, you can peel it first of all, but I'm going to be lazy about it. And you lay it out, salt it. I usually put it on top of a cloth, like a tea towel, and then I put another one over the top, and it absorbs the excess moisture, and it gets rid of the bitterness. So I'm going to layer my eggplant in here. You want to put the eggplant in?
Yeah.
Okay, here. Here's some eggplant. You put it on top of the tomato, just one at a time. There you go. Good job. Thank you. Thanks so much. So helpful. All right.
And that. And that, Mom.
No, but you know what we do need is some pepper. So another thing you can do is just.
I put the M2 in there.
Yes, just please be careful of your hand.
I'm careful my hand.
Yeah, we don't want to cut you. Another thing you can do is just cut all of this, have it sliced, ready to go in individual bowls, and then you can layer it like a lasagna.
I'm going to put this. It looks like a flower.
It does look like a flower. Do you know what that is?
What is this?
It's an eggplant.
Look like.
I'm going to scatter my purple peppers in here. This is very colorful. Ratatouille.
It looks
Salt.
like ready to eat.
It looks like ratatouille. It is ratatouille. And this is actually oregano that I dried the other day.
It looks like my mouth.
It does. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of oregano. You can also put some fresh parsley in here, which I do have.
I look like my tongue.
It looks like thyme.
I look like my tongue.
Oh, no, you can eat it. It's not going to taste good. I'm going to move that a little bit.
Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum. I hope I have some tomato paste in here. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait. This is chilies and adobo. Oh, yeah. It's chilies and adobo. All right. Oh, we have like 2 little tomato paste stars. Excuse me. Boy, Mommy's very disorganized today.
What is that?
This is tomato paste. So we're gonna do some tomato paste on here. Of
2 more.
course you can.
Thanks.
You can put the stars on, the tomato paste stars. I'll do the wet stuff because it's kind of sticky.
Look at the sticky one. What is this?
That's an onion.
It's sticky?
Kind of. It is kind of sticky. You know what we're gonna do? Please don't touch. We're going to do a hyperlapse on this.
This is on and stay making on.
Okay. You ready? You gonna put the stars on? The flowers? I did actually freeze these in little star mold because that was what I had. All right, here you go. Put them on top. Put them on top. Come on. Oh. Well, we'll throw that one in the sink because you don't want to put that. It probably has dog fur on it. Put that one on. Oh, so pretty. It's gonna make our ratatouille taste so yummy.
Looks like ratatouille.
Yeah. I'll rinse it off. We can put it in. All right. We're gonna.
Yum, yum, yum.
We're gonna time lapse this one.
Yum, 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 yum,
All right.
yum, yum.
So I'm just gonna put some dots of tomato paste on here. Ew, yucky. And I'm gonna put some more olive oil. You do need to layer this dish. Always layering, layering, layering. All right, what do I have here? I have 1 slice of tomato left. Slice up my onion. Kind of organize this a little bit now. A little bit of eggplant, a little bit of zucchini. So I need some more of everything, really. So I'm cutting these about 1/4 inch thick. See? I'm just gonna layer it. I'm actually gonna get a little bit of fresh parsley. You are gonna go to grandma's house, sweetheart.
Now I will eat grandma's house. I will eat grandma's house.
We'll be at grandma's house.
I don't want to go eat grandma's house.
No?
I don't think something. I don't think.
Just gonna give this a rough chop.
I don't think I'm.
Welcome to the chaos of this house. All right. Sprinkle some that.
I help you too.
Yes, you may put that in there. Go ahead, drop it in. I'm gonna slice that tomato a little bit more. We're gonna slice everything and then we're gonna layer it. You think you can help with that?
Yes, I got
Hold on. I have to cut slices out of that. I'm cutting just the core out of this tomato. Not the core, just the stem, really. So here we go. A really sharp knife to do this. All right, I'm gonna set this camera up a little bit better. Please don't put your hands up here. There's a sharp knife. All right, I'm gonna slice this pepper off of here. So this is a purple pepper. This actually came from my in-laws' house. They brought this over. Oops, I want that. I don't want the seeds. And then I think we may need a little more eggplant. which is really kind of a big part of this dish. Nice fresh eggplant.
Mom.
Yes, baby. Does this stuff look yucky to you?
Yeah. Mom.
If I don't use all this eggplant, I will definitely come up with another use for it.
Mom.
Just be careful. Sometimes the stems
Oh,
have
wait, Mom.
little spikes on them.
This is my
I've
mom.
stabbed myself more than once.
You see, Mom?
I'm not gonna slice all of this. I'm just gonna do a little bit of it. Again, you can peel this, so it's a little bit less tough, but I happen to like the skin on zucchini, on eggplant. I'm gonna turn my vent on because my stock's coming up to a boil. I'm gonna turn my video on here. And I am gonna start layering. So I started with onions. I'm gonna do another layer of onions. Probably gonna do just one more layer of everything. So you'd be amazed at how forgiving this is. You're just kind of throwing stuff on there, giving it a little salt. Now we'll do some more zucchini. I don't know, honey. Zucchini and salt. Gonna run out of room here. Tomato. Actually, I think I'm gonna do eggplant next.
Hey, it's my mom.
Eggplant.
You see my mom. See mom.
That was like the perfect amount. Oh, could you please hand that to me?
Yes, I get that.
Thank you.
I put in here.
No, can you throw it up in the sink because it needs to go in the compost? I have to dice up my peppers. Very organized today.
I help too.
Yes, you can put the peppers in.
I get my spoon.
No, I'll bring it down to you, or I'll lift you up. How about that?
Oh, wait.
I'm gonna pack this down a little bit because I'm gonna overflow here. Okay, take some peppers. These are peppers. Throw them on. Yep, there you go. Throw them all on there. Yeah. Good job. Thank you. A little more salt.
I help too again.
In a minute. A little more oregano. And just pop the top. I didn't really grind this up very small when I put my dried
What you say?
oregano in there.
What you say, Mom?
Talking about my oregano. Tomatoes. Oh God, these tomatoes are beautiful. I actually don't like raw tomatoes, so it's pretty funny to hear me say that. But I am trying to learn to like them. I have a few extra little pieces here. I'm just gonna throw them on. This is that forgiving that it really just doesn't matter.
Mom.
So more tomato paste on top of that. You're just kind of dotting it all over. Now I've made a huge batch of this in my big crock pot. It just, you can make as much or as little of it as you want. Hands, please. Stock is up to a boil, so I'm going to drop it down to a simmer. So I'm just making chicken stock with whatever I have left over. My parsley, I'm going to throw on top. My garlic. This is like a kitchen sink, everything but the kitchen sink recipe. Okay. A little more olive oil over the top. Now, ratatouille is really a stew. Essentially, that's what it is. So this is all gonna, you really want all the juice to stay in there, and it's just kind of steam and all the flavors will meld together. It will be beautiful. I'm gonna do a little more salt. You have a lot of stuff in here, so you really wanna make sure you salt it well. couple grinds of pepper, and you're done. All right, I'm gonna pull my camera back up over here. All right. Put this aside for now. It's not a thing I need. Clean my cutting board off. So here we go. Took me what? 10 minutes I've been live? 20 minutes. Okay. I've been live for 20 minutes. But really, that took me about 10 minutes of actual work to make. And there we go. So I'm going to pop a lid on this and I'm going to put it on low setting crock pot. Just shoot a little video here. Go. I'm going to set my crock pot up over here. So I can let it go for several hours. Counter. So as you can see, I have layered all of my ingredients. I'm just going to put a lid on it. And then I'm going to turn my crock pot on low for about 8 hours. That's it. All right. First recipe done. How are we doing over here? I'm going to back this up a bit. All right. So the next thing I'm going to make is shakshuka. So let me get myself together here. I don't need any more oregano. Now I saw somebody make this on the plane ride over to Scotland. We were on a Norwegian flight and they had cameras and they had, you know, like a few TV screens on the thing. And there was this like international cooking show and you never saw the guy's face, you just saw him cook stuff and he made shakshuka and I was like, that looks so good. So I kind of do this from memory. I'm sure I'm not really doing it in a traditional sense. I don't put the red pepper flakes in because I'm kind of a wimp, and my children are as well, wimpy kids. But I am going to put cumin seeds in there. If you can't get your hands on these, you can use ground cumin. That's totally fine. But I really like to toast them in the oil first. It's really nice. So I have some peppers. I don't need my green beans. I need tomatoes and I need a lot of onion. I'm going to fry the onions first. Get prepared here. I'm just going to make enough for my family. I've got onion, I've got cumin, I have peppers, I have garlic. This is fresh garlic, so it's really pungent. There, I need some tomatoes and then I'm good to go. See if I can remember how to make this. It's been a while. I think last I made this was last September. We had so much beautiful produce last year. It was amazing. We get our CSA through Red Fire Farm, and the pick your own portion was just bananas. Like they had so much great stuff. So this year, of course, it's been a year. 2020 needs to just go away. But we've had a horrible drought. We were really cold, really late into the season. And then it got hot immediately. We basically like extended our winter and went straight into summer, like 90-degree days in May, which is ridiculous. and no rain at all. It usually rains like almost the entire month of May, and we got nothing. So it was bad. All right, let me make sure I have what I need. I think that's everything I need. We'll find out. This is how we cook here when we're not recording. This is the in-between. So I'm gonna just get this stuff ready. It's very hot in here already. Can't imagine why. Actually, I'm gonna get a bowl because I like to be organized more than I am right now. There is no organization right now. Go away, peppers, green beans. Okay. I think I'm only gonna use 2, but I'll have 3 just in case. I'm gonna make sure I'm using my most right items. Oh no, what happened? All right, keep going over here. So I am going about 1.5 large onions or 2 medium onions. I'm gonna slice them fairly thin. You want them to kind of caramelize. And again, I'm just gonna dump my onion paper in there. It'll just add flavor. I need to make my bread. Oops. My oven was supposed to be preheated to 475. So it's probably gonna preheat overproof. My onion's ready here. Shakshuka goes quick, so if you can have your ingredients prepped, it's always a good idea. I know some people leave the stem to help hold it together and keep it from getting too, like, I don't really worry about that because I have a really sharp knife, and usually it is not a problem. I have long nails, so I can cut a long bit. Hold one moment, please. I'm gonna set my other camera up. Good to go. All right, so next up, I am gonna make some shakshuka. And this is something that I actually saw somebody make on a cooking video, Norwegian flight to Scotland. And I was like, oh, that looks really good. I think I want to make that. And so we came home and happened to have a bunch of tomatoes and peppers from our CSA. And I was like, I'm going to make that. So I made it the first time and it's so good. I've been making it ever since. It's kind of like eggs in purgatory also. Stewing tomatoes with lots of flavor, fried onions, and you're cooking your eggs, basically poaching it in this liquid. So I have 1.5 large onions. You could use 2 medium onions. I think I'm going to stop there. Usually this calls for red pepper, like a sweet red bell pepper, but I have these little green peppers here. These are not hot. These are just like they're almost like a shishito, although every now and then you get a hot shishito. So just in case, I tasted them and I also removed the seeds and the membranes because that's what holds the heat. And then I'm going to do 2 tomatoes and kind of see where I end up. And I actually want a lot of this liquid in here, so I'm not going to seed them. You can, if you don't want that. So actually, while I get my tomatoes ready to go, we're gonna eat this for lunch, by the way. It's a breakfast dish, but we're gonna eat it for lunch. I am going to fry my onions. I'm gonna get this going on like medium-high heat. Just have to check it. And this is the perfect pan for this. If you have a glass lid, it's better because then you can see what's going on. I don't have one. So we'll use a regular lid when the time comes. But I'm gonna get about 3 tablespoons of olive oil heated up. This is very similar to the New York Times recipe for it. Just gonna let that oil heat up a little bit, and then I will get my onions in. And in the meantime, I will just kind of dice up my tomatoes. So like I said, you're basically just making almost like a pan tomato sauce that you're going to poach your eggs in. The difference is this is a very heavily spiced, lovely scented dish. So I'm going to add my cumin about halfway, probably towards the very end of frying my onions because I actually want to toast the cumin. It's going to give it a really great warm flavor. So this is actually disgusting to me. I hate raw tomatoes. But when you cook them, something magical happens. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going for the magic here. I am not being fussy about this, as you can see. All right. Our oil is popping over here. I would say that it's ready. It's obviously getting a little. Carefully add your onions. We're going to cook this down. Now, this isn't a quick breakfast or a quick meal necessarily. Woo. You want to let this go for like 20 minutes. You really want these to soften at 15 or 20 minutes. You really want these to soften, get nice and caramelized, because you're just adding layers of flavor while you're doing. So I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop at 2 tomatoes, which will leave me 1 tomato left, which is great. Gone through a lot of tomatoes very quickly. The glory of these recipes is it's using all of this delicious fresh produce kind of all at once. You know, all these recipes have lots of ingredients in them, and it's all ingredients that should be in season about the same time. I actually want to save that juice on there. And again, if you don't like the seeds, you can certainly take the seeds out of your tomatoes. So also for this recipe, I'm going to need, I've got my cumin seeds here that I'll be toasting, and some sweet paprika, and you can put some cayenne in if you prefer, or red pepper flakes. It's just not something I particularly care for. So I'm just going to cook these down until they get nice and caramelized, and I will be back for the next step. Hi, welcome back. I kind of moved you around a little bit. So my onions have been cooking for a few minutes, about 5. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and I'm going to add the bell peppers. So I'm just layering in the flavors. I want these peppers to be really soft. This should be like a sauce that should be soft and lovely. My onions got a little too. That's okay. I'm just turning it down. I'm going to add a little salt. The salt will help the water come out of the vegetables, and it will help with the layering of the flavor. You just want to add a little bit, just a pinch or 2. So again, usually you'd want to do this with a red pepper, but I don't have any red pepper. I have green pepper. It'll still be delicious. So what's going to take these flavors from being from Italian and more Middle Eastern is going to be the cumin and the paprika. It's going to add some really nice flavor to it. And now as I'm looking at this, I may want to add a little bit more tomato. So it's kind of the beauty of this. You've got to remember that it's going to cook down quite a bit. So look at that tomato. Beautiful. This came in our CSA. We don't grow our own tomatoes because we haven't had the need to. There are certain things that we find that our CSA just does so well that there's no reason for us to grow them. Tomatoes, green beans, eggplants, just a lot of really lovely things. And I don't grow my basil in bulk anymore. I used to. I grew up growing basil in 2 giant rows in my family's vegetable garden. So we could make massive amounts of pesto, and I just don't find the need to do that anymore. All right, there we go. The other piece of this is we're going to add some of this local feta. This is from Narragansett Creamery. I was very excited to find this. I've been doing a lot of my grocery ordering through a local grocery delivery service, and it's like a co-op of farms. And that was one of the things that popped up on there. And I was super excited. Oh my God, I'm getting tomato juice everywhere. All right, so I'm going to let this cook for another 10 minutes or so. Just softening everything up, getting it nice and caramelized. And then I'm going to add my tomatoes. Now, because I'm using fresh tomatoes, actually maybe close to like 5 minutes because I really want them to cook down and get soft. So I'm just kind of winging it. I just kind of go with what looks right. I know it's kind of frustrating for people who don't cook, but that's how I do things. All right, so my onions have been cooking for a little while. They've got nice and soft and brown. And now I'm gonna add tomatoes. If you're using stewed or diced tomatoes in a can, you would wait a little bit longer to put these in. Woo. Oh, I forgot to add have my cumin seeds. Been cooking on the fly here. That's all right. They'll still taste delicious. So I'm going to add about, I'd say half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. And then you can also add some ground cumin if it doesn't have enough flavor for you. Also forgot to add my garlic. I'm just killing it over here. All right, I'm going to add my garlic in. I had it in a pocket that doesn't have tomato. And I'm just going to kind of saute them a little bit. I'm going to crank the heat up a little bit because I really want this to cook down. I want this to caramelize. We do want a lot of that moisture. Maybe not quite so much. So I'm just going to put, normally what I would do is put the garlic and let that soften for a minute or two. Then put the cumin seeds in and just kind of toast them a little bit. But I got a little overzealous here. So I'm going to cook my garlic down, and then I'm going to cover this so everything softens. I love my like cassette pans, my all-clad pans, but it's very frustrating that they don't have glass lids, so I can't see what's going on. It smells good already. The garlic and the onion and the paprika and the cumin. And you can actually add a little bit of liquid to this. If you find that too much of the tomato juice has cooked out, you can add a little bit more. Right now, I think that's perfectly fine. I'm also going to give this a tiny bit of taste for salt. I'm going to add a little bit more. You can also, when you're using fresh tomatoes, because they can be a little bit bitter, you can add a little honey to this to give it some sweetness, especially where you're missing out on that sweet red pepper. Some honey might be nice. So I'm going to pop a lid on this and turn it down to low, and I'm going to let this go and simmer and basically turn into a sauce. About 10 minutes, but I'm going to check on it after just a few. All right. Little longer pause, but I was busy making lunch for the babies. They're so spoiled. It's ridiculous. This is Caribbean-inspired rice and peas. So it's like a coconut rice with lots of flavoring, like allspice, red kidney beans, some lightly seasoned Jamaican jerk ribs that I smoked in the oven, and corn and watermelon. They're just so spoiled. That's all. We're gonna have a look at our shakshuka in one moment, as soon as I set them up. Hey, Towers, let's go. Dummies. It's time for lunch. It's time for lunch. What time is it? It's time for lunch. Here you are. Watch your little boy. Go, babies. Here. Spoon. Here, how do you use a spoon instead of being a savage? Set my other camera up here, and I think we're ready to go with the shakshuka. All right, so the shakshuka has been cooking, simmering away with the fresh tomatoes in it. Wow, oh my goodness. Look at that. It is beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I still have enough liquid that I can poach my eggs, but the tomatoes are cooked down. The peppers are nice and soft. The onions are nice and soft. So right now I have bread in the oven. The oven's at 475. I want it at 375. So soon I am going to pop this in the oven. So I'm just gonna let it simmer a little bit longer. Give it another quick taste. I would never do this if I were serving it to anyone else, but it's just my family, so they know. It's good. The bitterness of fresh tomatoes has been cooked out of it. It's nice and sweet. Only I'm going to use ground cumin this time, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. Put my spices away. I'm gonna get my eggs ready, and it's helpful if your eggs are room temperature, but it's also helpful if you crack your eggs into something first and then drop them into the little pool you're gonna make here. So I'm going to take a small bowl. It's just a little ramekin. I've got my feta ready to go. Let's see how we're doing on our bread. This bread is overcooked. Turn my oven to 375. Terrible loaf of bread. What was I thinking? All right. We all fail sometimes. It happens. Cool my bread on racks. I ran out of sourdough. Woo! So I've got these two loaves, and holy crap, was that hot. Yeah. All right. So fresh bread is out of the oven. You really want French bread. You want something to eat this with, to soak up all this delicious juice. So I'm gonna level it out, sprinkle some feta on, because I actually want the feta to like melt into it and cook. Oh, this smells beautiful. Just gonna dot it all around. I love feta, and to me, that's what makes this. So don't skimp on the feta, unless, of course, you don't eat dairy. And I'm sorry. This is pretty firm feta, so it will do well heating in the oven to help make it nice and creamy. So I like kind of a lot of it. You can add this towards the end if you prefer, but I really like it to help flavor the sauce. All right. Now, I'm gonna crack my egg, get it ready to go. And I'm gonna make a little indent, just a little nest for my egg. So we're gonna have to fit 4 eggs in here. You're gonna just gently drop it in. There we go. So like I said, we're eating this for lunch. It's traditionally a breakfast dish, but there is no reason at all why you can't eat eggs for lunch, for dinner. This would make an awesome dinner. Brunch, Sunday brunch, which has no concept for us around here. Now I am going to cover this when I put it in the oven. And you can take the cover off after a few minutes. But I want to make sure that we're poaching this and not baking the eggs and that they're not, they get hard. I want them to be nice and soft and lovely because you want the whites just set and the yolks to be nice and runny. So I'm gonna put a lid on it, pop it in a 375-degree oven. Check it after 5 minutes. My daughter just dropped her food on the floor for the dogs. It was very nice of her. So my shakshuka's been cooking for a few minutes, and I'm just gonna check on it. So obviously when you're doing this, you wanna make sure you have a pan that can go into the oven. And you wanna make sure you get an oven mitt on there. Oh, that is beautiful. It's been about 5 minutes. I'd say this baby is done. So it's good to do that to remind yourself that this is hot. So my egg whites are just set. I actually may throw this in for another minute. I'm just gonna salt and pepper it because I did forget to do that. I'm just gonna put it back in for another minute or two to make sure my eggs are all the way set around the whites. Yeah, they're still a little liquidy. So I'm gonna take the lid off, put them back in. Probably another 2 minutes, and I'm literally gonna set a timer because I will forget. Hi, what are you doing? You crazy lady. Hey, can you please finish your lunch? Thank you. Kitty. Oh, kitty. I see. You're smart. We have some of this bread that I made that's a little flat. That's what happens when you rush. And I overproofed it because I forgot to preheat my oven. Kitty. A kitty? A baby kitty? You have corn in your hair. Yep, that's kitty. Sure is. It's a kitty. It's a kitty. So we're all clear. Kitty. Yes! And what's this? It's an owl. Owl. And the owl says, "Hoo-hoo." Pretty kitty? Pretty owl? It's a pretty owl. Check on my eggs. Keeping an eye on them. Yes, I know it's a kitty. I'm so glad you found one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you looking at the camera. She's gonna knock that over. Arlo, get down. Just wait for those eggs to be ready. See, I have one viewer. Yikes, moly. Okay. Thanks, girlfriend. Yeah, we're not gonna play with this right now. Kitty and phone that we not are going to touch. Okie dokie. You just don't want this to be a thing that you're gonna be helpful about, huh? All right. Move you over a little bit so that I can do this. All right, so this has been in for another 2 minutes. And I'm gonna check my egg whites again. A little tiny bit jiggly. I might give it another minute. And this is kind of the reality of cooking. Gotta keep testing it and trying and see what happens. And it's really personal preference. You could say, I want my whites a little bit runny, and then you could take it out. You could say, I don't want my yolks runny. I don't know why you wouldn't want them runny. But some people don't like that. They don't like undercooked eggs. To me, the runny yolk adds to the richness of the sauce, and you're really kind of missing out if you overcook your eggs. I know. What would you like me to do about the kitty? No. What does the kitty say?
Meow. Daddy. Daddy.
Coming back. All right. So those have been in there for another few minutes, and I'm just gonna call them done because I want to. I'm gonna turn my oven off. This is like really hard to take out of the oven. I do not have chef hands at all. I have the wimpiest. Whoa, hi, little baby. So nice to see you right under my feet. Shoes. Yes, she has my shoes. So I'm gonna call these done. It's beautiful, and it's gonna continue to cook a tiny bit longer while it's sitting here. Your whites are set. They're a tiny bit runny still, but that's all right. So here's my cover. I'm gonna put that on there to remind myself that it's hot. That's something that's really important to do. Now I have fresh parsley, and I also have a little bit of cilantro, which is not something I like, but my husband does. So I'm gonna put it on half of this. And then I have some of this fresh bread that I made to serve with it to soak up all the delicious juice. Still warm, a little flat, but not too bad. Nice and cooked. So to serve this, all you're gonna do, spoon some out into a bowl. You've got that feta that's nice and soft and salty. All this delicious sauce. I'm gonna spoon in here as well. Clean up my bowl a little bit. There you go. Some fresh bread. And just so you can see why we leave the yolk a little bit soft, it's going to, that's actually even a little too set for me. That lovely yolk is just going to get in there and thicken up the sauce and make it nice and rich. So there you have it, shakshuka, all set to eat.
Mm-hmm.